Hey guys, it's Ashley. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to yet another installment of Filling Newcrest, a series on my channel where I quite literally fill Newcrest with base game only builds. Today we are working on one of the lots in the right side of Newcrest. It is called Civic Cliffs. It is a 30 by 20 lot, and I struggled sticking to the budget on this one. I want to say I was initially shooting for a 30K build. Well, we end up spending a little over 44,000 simoleons here. We end up spending exactly 44,493 simoleons. So just hundreds of simoleons left over for your Sims to purchase meals and pay the bills until they get paid, or you guys use cheats or something. I don't know. It ends up being a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom home. It's 2 stories, as you may be able to tell already. There is a large backyard. It is somewhat empty. We do have outdoor dining out there, which I can't remember if I actually caught on camera or if I just kind of added that in later on off camera, but you guys will see it in the screenshots. I know I definitely have screenshots of it. I just can't remember if I recorded it or not. But that ends up looking really cute. And then on the inside, we have a formal dining room, and then we also have like a more casual like breakfast nook, which is right here off of the kitchen, which we don't really have anything together yet, so I don't know if you can really tell where I'm talking about, but it's basically that like larger sunroom sort of situation off on the back end of the build. And then we end up adding in a chess table, and there is a computer upstairs in one of the bedrooms. So since we're just starting to throw together, well, the floor plan's done, we're starting to throw together some furnishing and just kind of figure out the layout. I always start in the kitchen. If you guys are familiar with my builds, I just feel like the kitchen, at least in my head when it comes to me and my process when it comes to building, I just have to start in the kitchen. I feel like it just sets the tone for the entire build. I feel like if I end up cluttering a kitchen a lot or making the kitchen rather more eclectic or more modern, that just is kind of where the build goes, and that's the direction I end up going when it comes to my building and decorating styles and things like that. So I love to start in the kitchen. That's my kind of typical. And then if I don't do that, I usually start out in like with the landscaping, whether it's front yard, backyard, whatever. Every now and then I have a very specific vision of what I want for a build, so I'll often start there. But honestly, I go into these builds a lot of the time with maybe just like an idea of like a family type or a color scheme, and then I typically just start in the kitchen. But I was thinking that this home would be perfect for maybe a set of grandparents and their teen grandson. So the grandson is actually the one that has the computer in his bedroom, and that was kind of when I was like, you know what, maybe this will be a household that's grandparents raising their grandson, and maybe they just aren't really like tech savvy, and so it just only makes sense for him to have the computer. Doesn't mean that they can't use the computer, but that's just not really their thing. And also, not to say that chess is for only elderly Sims or elderly people, but I don't often place chess tables in my builds unless I have a Sim that like really wants to, you know, raise their logic skill or something like that, whether it benefits them in their job or something along those lines. I don't often place chess tables, so when I placed it here, I was also kind of thinking, oh, maybe it's like elderly Sims that live here. But like they have the second bedroom, and the way I started just decorating it, it just looked a lot like a teen bedroom to me. So then I was like, well, you know what? We want to have variety here in Newcrest. I want to have lots of different builds and some diversity here. So I figure not every single person that is living in any of these residential lots here in Newcrest are, you know, a family with 2 parents and kids and whatever. It's not always cookie cutter like that. So I thought maybe throwing in a household with grandparents raising their grandson or granddaughter, whatever you see fit here, I thought it would just be kind of nice to just do something different. And as you can see, I did do the floor plan off camera. I really struggled with this floor plan. I want to say I started this build maybe like last week, and I seriously think before I landed on this specific floor plan, which worked out pretty well, but it was not easy to get here. I think I had like 2 or 3 different other floor plans beforehand, and I had an entirely different like intro to this because I was doing something completely different with the backyard in the very beginning of the build, and I ended up bulldozing it and starting fresh. It's basically the same bones of the house, it's just completely different floor plan and entirely different backyard and all that. But anyway, as you can see, we're decorating the grandparents' bedroom right now. This window's a bit awkward, so I end up placing a standing mirror and just a painting above their dresser, and then I place minimal clutter because, again, I kept struggling with the money situation. So there's a few times off camera that I cut out some footage of me going around the house and deleting things and swapping them for cheaper ones. Like, it was just really hard. It's really hard to do a budgeted build, especially with base game. I'm just not a huge fan of base game. It's great. We do have lots of options, especially with, some added swatches over time. We've gotten some nice SDX drops and things like that get added into the base game. But I don't know, for me personally, it's difficult. You'd think that it'd be easier because I have less options and less swatches and things, but I just feel like sometimes the base game things just don't make sense. Like, you can tell that certain items are part of a furniture set, like a bedroom set, for example, but then the wood tone of the dresser doesn't match the wood tone of the matching side table or something. To me, that just doesn't make sense to me. Those are the things, in my opinion, that need to get fixed with like patch updates and stuff. And I'm sure a lot of different people can agree with me, whether you're a builder or you play The Sims or both, whatever the situation may be. I feel like a lot of people would agree with me on that. And then two, wall decor. Like, wall art is it's not great, and the wall art that we have is very expensive. I've touched on this in a past build before, but I want to say Little Simsy brought it up. She was saying, like, you can walk into Target and buy a really cute framed photo for like $20, but in The Sims it's like $200. And I completely agree. It's very accurate and very true. But anyway, since this is a budgeted build, I went a little overboard in certain areas. I think I probably could have done without a formal dining room and a kitchen table. I think we could have just settled on one, but then I was like, well, I still need to fill this space. And at that point, I'd already struggled with the floor plan and didn't want to get rid of a space entirely. Like, either way, I have to fill it with something, therefore it's going to cost money. So I just stuck with the idea of the formal dining and like the more casual kitchen table. But with that being said, I needed to use lots of show live edit object items. I don't know why I always say show live edit objects. That's the cheat. I use a lot of live edit objects from the live edit object menu and I use lots of different plants from there, which I personally, these hedges are my favorite. You will see them in so many of my builds. Even if it's not just a base game build, I use them a lot to line the fences of my Sims backyards because I just think that they're perfectly overgrown looking, but also manicured. Like, they're not super crazy. I don't know. It's not just like placing like a patch of grass somewhere randomly in your Sims backyard or something. But I will say, Cottage Living has some really good live edit object plants. I use those a lot, especially when it comes to these larger builds. Like with this build, for example, how we have this large empty backyard. Like I said, it doesn't end up being empty. You'll see in the screenshots. But right now, in my process while I was building here, I'm trying to figure out what can I afford, what can I place in this backyard. I was really wishing that I could have placed down those large patches of like grass and flowers from Cottage Living, but obviously that was not going to work since this is base game only. But we are already coming up into the screenshot. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to download this, it will be available on the Sims 4 gallery under my EA ID, which is ashleyyangelinaa, spelled with 2 Y's and 2 A's at the end of Angelina. I will always have that link down below in the description box for you guys. And hit that subscribe button, hit that post notification bell so you're aware of when I post in the future. I have some more filling Newcrest builds coming up for you guys, and all these builds will be available in the filling Newcrest playlist on my channel. If you guys need easier access to find them, that's where you can find them. And I hope to see you guys in a future build. Bye.